Good evening, I'm Keisha Butts with the CTV News Update. The final phase of hybrid learning began today for Prince George's County students. Grades 7 through 11 returned to class today. Here at Flowers High, about 125 kids have returned. Board member Shayla Adams Stafford says she's confident schools are safe for everyone. She also says in-person learning is irreplaceable.
You know, educators, we really look at the visual context clues from students, and that helps us to determine how to teach them. When you're only looking at a blank screen, it's very difficult to do that. And so, you know, the goal is that students will be back in the building, you know, I think across the country, that's what we're looking at.
And I'm just really excited that we're able to return to a posture of face-to-face learning and relationship building here at our Mecca of Excellence.
I'm actually very happy. I'm excited. After a year just being at home, it just feels good because I always call Flowers my second home, so it's just kind of surreal for me to just be back, see all my teachers. It's a feel-good moment.
Youngsters who participate in hybrid learning will attend in-person classes 2 days a week. Prince George's is making progress in its vaccination efforts. That's according to County Executive Angela Osserbrooks. She says about 1 in every 5 adults has received at least 1 dose of the vaccine. Osserbrooks also says supplies are increasing as the county moves to phase 3. As for COVID-19 cases, Dr. George Askew says they didn't see a spike after Easter and spring break. However, Osserbrooks is still discouraging large family gatherings.
The tracing data that we've gathered through our contact tracing, especially for the month of March, tells us that family gatherings are still the biggest source of COVID-19 spread in our county. And I have to say, you know what, we understand. We understand that everyone is eager to get back together as a family. We miss each other, we miss the gatherings, we miss the celebrations. And so the message is to be careful.
Meantime, Osserbrooks today announced new county beautification initiatives. The state health department reports more than 1,400 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. An additional 19 Marylanders have died from the virus. This brings the state's death toll to more than 8,300. Currently, 1,200 Marylanders are in the hospital with COVID-19. U.S. Capitol Police were under a spotlight this afternoon. The agency's Inspector General Michael Bolton spoke with the House Committee on his report about the deadly January insurrection. Bolton says Capitol Police need a cultural change. He also says the agency needs to improve its intelligence gathering, training practices, and operational plans. His report finds that some agency equipment is out of date and that some officers haven't completed their required training. Police reform advocates are celebrating the passage of Anton's Law in Maryland. It's named for Anton Black, the Eastern Shore teenager who was killed in 2018 while in the custody of Greensboro, Maryland police. Delegate Gabrielle Acevedo had introduced the measure in the last 3 legislative sessions, but it failed to garner enough support until this year.
I would have liked to see us go a little bit further regarding white nationalism in law enforcement, ending qualified immunity in state court, banning no-knock warrants, allowing for community oversight and control over law enforcement agencies, police-free schools, and a number of other issues. But we have tackled whether it's the repealing of the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights, whether it's passing a strong use of force standard that no other state has passed before, whether it's mandating body cameras for all law enforcement officers in our states. There's a lot for us to look at in the police accountability package and to see progress that was made.
Governor Larry Hogan vetoed Anton's Law, but it was quickly overridden by the General Assembly on a party line vote. You're watching CTV News. I'm Keisha Butts. We'll be back in 1 moment.
I moved to Florida with literally pennies in my pocket and a prayer. I needed a new start. Dacian looks like a very typical 3-year-old until you ask him, "What's your name? How old are you?" My son has a lot of behaviors that would show as being autistic. Most kids can tolerate a variety of foods, but unfortunately for Dacian, everything has to be organic and raw. I wasn't ashamed to go to the food pantries. It's expensive to eat healthy, and nutrition is very important to Dacian's health. The healthy, organic food that we receive dramatically helped his social skills. Most people would say, she really doesn't have much of a life. But to me, I have everything right there next to me and my son.
Welcome back. The Washington Council of Governments has put its stamp of approval on D.C. statehood. The regional organization, which is comprised of elected officials from 24 jurisdictions, voted unanimously. Among those in full support is COG member and Prince George's Councilman Derek Davis, who says statehood is good for the region.
And so one of the impacts that might be immediate is if you see what's happening with regard to the vaccine currently and vaccine distribution, the ability to coordinate those efforts and ensure that the District of Columbia is treated fairly and receives the amount of resources that are necessary ultimately helps all folks in that specific footprint.
COG sent a resolution to the region's congressional representatives urging a passage of the measure, which is expected to hit stiff opposition in the Republican-led Senate. Police are looking for the person who shot and killed a man in Laurel last night. The victim is 41-year-old Marcus Dalton of Laurel. It happened around 6 in the 13,000 block of Larchdale Road. That's where they found Dalton lying in the street. Detectives have yet to identify a suspect. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Well, a Riverdale man is behind bars tonight charged with shooting a motorist during a road rage incident. The suspect is 31-year-old Maurice Bellinger. Police say on the night of April 2nd, Bellinger fired into a car during a road rage incident in Riverdale. The victim, 50-year-old Kia Bale of Hyattsville, was a passenger in the car. Bellinger, who fled and was taken into custody in North Carolina, awaits extradition. He faces murder and attempted murder charges. Maryland's Commerce Secretary says she's running in the 2022 race for governor. Kelly Schultz is aiming for the Republican Party's nomination for governor. Schultz, a former delegate from Frederick County, joined Governor Larry Hogan's administration back in 2015. So far, Schultz is the only Republican and woman in the 2022 race.
I'm running for governor so we can continue to build upon all of our past successes and fulfill the great promise and potential of our state. Together, we can get Marylanders working, help our struggling families and small businesses, and restore and strengthen our economy.
Comptroller Peter Francho and former County Executive Rashawn Baker are aiming for the Democratic Party nomination. More news in a moment. Stay tuned.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. That's PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
Welcome back. University of Maryland officials say they plan to open the campus back to full capacity for the fall 2021 semester. Masks will be required indoors and outdoors. Also, students, faculty, and staff on campus will be required to undergo COVID-19 testing. Meantime, the university says it will hold an in-person spring commencement on May 21st at Maryland Stadium. The Ossobrooks administration has big plans for an area it's calling Downtown Largo. During a roundtable discussion with reporters yesterday, Ossobrooks said she is working to bring a large sports and learning entertainment venue to Prince George's in the area around FedEx Field. It would include an amphitheater. It's part of a large plan that includes the Washington football team.
A sports and entertainment destination, a 365-day-a-year destination. That really would it would not only serve as a place, of course, where the team would be there playing, but we're hoping to have restaurants and have other, to have entertainment and many other community uses that will go on all year long. And so this will be a premier sports and entertainment destination. And again, not just sports, but we're seeing this as a huge community asset.
Ossobrooks says she hopes to also attract the team's practice facility and corporate offices. Trailblazers in environmental stewardship will be honored during a virtual ceremony this evening. The Audubon Naturalist Society will salute 11 figures during its Taking Nature Back event. This year's regional champions include a trio of women from the University of Maryland who are working to diversify the geosciences.
Currently, geoscience fields, geology, geography, some of the hydrological sciences are white male-dominated fields. And so it's a very rare occurrence, especially in my matriculation through my programs. I did not see any Black faculty, not one. It's a learning curve that a lot of students of color just have never experienced. So you're kind of walking in that blind.
We collaborated around that as an aim. A warm, inviting climate. So we have a mentoring component to our objectives, as well as an opportunity for underrepresented groups to have like a mirror, a reflection of themselves as a faculty member, as well as for other individuals interested in STEM to have a window into what it's like to have a female professor in a STEM field.
The trio established Pearls, providing educational access to research and learning in the geosciences. The program aims to recruit students with non-traditional backgrounds. Another regional champion who will be recognized at tonight's Take Nature Back event is Donald Beal. Beal is an environmental outreach educator with the Prince George's school system. He's currently working on programs at the Schmidt Center in Brandywine, including the Student Environmental Alliance Summit and the Envirothon.
We certainly have to increase the diversity, not just because every student, we owe that to them, but they have something to bring to the table as well. So, each student has a unique background and information that they're bringing to the table in a unique way of problem solving and looking at an issue. And if we're leaving a portion of those students out, then we won't get the best answers and solutions to the environmental problems, because we're really not scanning and getting information from all the different perspectives.
Tonight's virtual ceremony starts at 7 p.m. and will feature music, poetry, and Q&A. For more information, log on to anshome.org. Well, let's get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 42 degrees. Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 60 and a low around 43. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 62 and a low around 48. Sunday, partly sunny with a daytime high near 64 and an evening low around 46. And now for the community calendar, calling parents and residents, grab a comfy seat and your hot cup of joe for the virtual Saturday morning discussion with District 9 School Board member Sonia Williams. Learn more and ask questions about hybrid learning, high school graduation, and more. The event is this Saturday, April 17th from 9 to 10:30 a.m. via Zoom. For more questions, email mural.barton@pgcps.org. And that wraps up our CTV News update. Join us again tomorrow at 4:30. Have a good night and stay safe.